This is dominating conversations in NFL backrooms, my friend. The Philadelphia Eagles front office might be about to make a move that would completely change the face of this defense. We're talking about 69.5 career sacks, 5 consecutive Pro Bowls, and one of the most feared pass rushers in the league. And according to NFL Network's Mike Garafolo, the Eagles are at the top of the list if this player hits the market. But who is this player that could revolutionize Vic Fangio's defense? I'm going to explain who this defensive monster is and why this trade could actually happen. But first, if you're a die-hard Eagles fan, smash that like button and subscribe right now because Howie Roseman might be planning the most impactful move since the arrival of Haason Reddick. With the 2026 offseason approaching and crucial questions about the future of the defensive line, the Philadelphia Eagles' front office is evaluating all options to strengthen one of the team's most important units. The team, known for its defensive aggressiveness under Vic Fangio's command, is searching for an elite edge rusher who can dominate the right side of the line and create a devastating pass rush duo. A name that's exploded in conversations over the last few days is Max Crosby, defensive end for the Las Vegas Raiders. During an appearance on the Anthony Gargano show, NFL Network insider Mike Garafolo got straight to the point when asked if the Eagles would get involved if Crosby became available. Big time. I would put the Eagles in the top 3, 5, whatever teams would be going after Max Crosby if and when this thing opens up. And I do believe it's going to open up. The numbers are absolutely impressive. In 7 complete seasons with the Raiders, Crosby has appeared in 110 games and accumulated 69.5 sacks, 402 total tackles, 29 passes defended, and 5 consecutive Pro Bowl selections since 2021. Even in 2025, despite missing some games due to contractual issues with the organization, he recorded 10 sacks, 73 tackles, and an incredible 28 tackles for loss in just 15 games. He averages more than 10 sacks per season for his career and rarely comes off the field, consistently playing over 90% of defensive snaps. For a defense commanded by Vic Fangio, who values versatility and relentless intensity, adding an edge rusher like Crosby would make the Eagles' defense one of the most complete and feared in the NFL. But let's put this in context within the Eagles' recent history. This isn't the first time Howie Roseman has aimed high when it comes to elite pass rushers. Reports from last year indicated the Eagles made a significant offer for the Dallas Cowboys' Micah Parsons, willing to send multiple picks to bring in the divisional star. There were also strong and persistent connections to Myles Garrett before he signed his massive extension with the Cleveland Browns. The general manager has consistently shown a willingness to make aggressive and even controversial moves when a defensive game-changer becomes available, and Crosby certainly qualifies as exactly that type of transformational player. The question is, do the Eagles really have enough capital to make this deal happen? And even more importantly, would the Raiders be willing to trade their biggest defensive star, the face of the franchise, and the player who has consistently given everything for the organization even during losing seasons? Adding Crosby wouldn't just immediately solve the edge situation, but would also create one of the most feared and complementary pass rush duos in the league alongside Josh Sweat. Think about it. Crosby on the right side with his ability to win with both power and speed, and Sweat on the left side with his athletic explosiveness. This would free up other players like Nolan Smith and Brandon Graham for more suitable roles as luxury rotational pieces, allowing Fangio to get even more creative with his pressure schemes and blitzes. The defensive line is already good, consistently among the league's top 10, but with Crosby, that would completely change the game and put the Eagles on another defensive level. But this story has another side that can't be ignored, especially when we're talking about financial realism. Crosby signed a 3-year, $106.5 million extension with the Raiders in March 2025, keeping him with the team through 2029 and making him one of the highest-paid edge rushers in the league with a salary cap hit exceeding $30 million per year. Any trade would require the Eagles not only to surrender valuable draft picks, likely including a first-rounder and multiple Day 2 selections, but also to absorb a massive contract that would significantly impact the salary cap for years to come. With approximately $40 million in projected cap space for 2026 before any moves, the Eagles would theoretically have the flexibility to absorb Crosby's contract, but they'd also need to eventually extend Jalen Hurts, deal with the free agent situation of players like Jalen Phillips, and potentially add pieces in the secondary and interior offensive line. Howie would have to make strategic restructuring moves, possible veteran cuts, and bonus conversions to create the necessary space. Is it technically feasible? Yes, but it would require meticulous planning and sacrifices in other areas. The tension between Crosby and the Raiders emerged when the organization chose to shut him down in the final weeks of the 2025 season, a decision that generated massive controversy and ignited trade rumors throughout the league. Sources indicate Crosby was frustrated with the franchise's direction and lack of competitiveness. If this thing opens up, as Garafolo suggested with such confidence, it would be extremely surprising if the Eagles weren't near the front of the line. Howie Roseman has a proven track record of not letting opportunities like this pass, especially when it involves players in their prime who can make an immediate impact. But at the end of the day, this possible trade is just part of a much bigger equation for the Eagles. Because the team also needs to resolve Jalen Phillips' situation, who became an unrestricted free agent and attracted interest from multiple teams around the league. Phillips had a decent but not spectacular season, and the Eagles need to decide whether to invest heavily in him or let him walk. Additionally, there are other glaring needs in the secondary, especially at cornerback opposite Darius Slay, and in the interior of the defensive line where depth remains a constant concern. Bringing in Crosby would unequivocally be an all-in move, a clear statement that the competitive window is now, and that the Eagles are willing to mortgage future resources for immediate success. It would be the kind of bold move that defines legacies and separates good general managers from legendary ones. But it also carries significant risks if things don't work out as planned. There's also an emotional and cultural layer to this story that can't be underestimated. Crosby openly praised the Philadelphia atmosphere after playing at Lincoln Financial Field last December, calling it exactly the type of loud, intense, and passionate football environment that players dream about throughout their entire careers. He specifically mentioned how the Eagles' fan base impressed him and how incredible it would be to play for those fans every week. Veteran NFL analyst Brian Baldinger, who knows both the city and the player deeply, went even further and was emphatic. Max Crosby would love playing in Philadelphia. I'm still waiting for them to build a statue of Reggie White here, but he would be pretty close to a modern-day Reggie in this town. I would say this: newborn babies, they would name their sons Max with 2 X's. Baldinger's comparison to Reggie White, the Minister of Defense and arguably the greatest defensive end in NFL history, might seem bold and even exaggerated, but it perfectly highlights how much Crosby's playing style would resonate deeply with the Eagles' fan base. This is exactly the type of player that Philadelphia fans instantly embrace and turn into an idol. Pure grit, unwavering intensity, leadership by example, and an absolute refusal to leave the field or give up on a play. Crosby plays with the kind of edge and attitude that fits perfectly into Eagles culture. And while Crosby's situation depends on multiple factors completely outside the Eagles' control, including the Raiders' willingness to rebuild and interest from other competing teams, another absolutely crucial question remains. If the Raiders actually trade him, what kind of package would be necessary to win the competition? Are we talking first-round picks in multiple years, additional second- and third-round selections, maybe even a young player included in the package? And would the Eagles be willing to commit that much draft capital that they could use to build sustainable roster depth and ensure long-term competitiveness? With questions about the immediate future of the defensive line, the massive financial impact of a contract exceeding $30 million annually, fierce competition from other top-tier teams like the 49ers and Chiefs, and the long-term implications for roster construction, what would be the best strategy for the Eagles not just to compete, but to completely dominate the NFC East in 2026 and beyond? Leave your opinion in the comments below. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back later to update you with the latest Eagles news.